Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unreal English. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. We're so happy you're here with us today.
On this channel, we help you learn natural, conversational English through real dialogues. If you're new here, welcome. We're so glad you found us.
And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your continued support. You're the reason we keep creating these videos.
Before we start today's conversation, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our new content.
And if you find this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It's a small action that makes a huge difference in helping us reach more English learners.
Absolutely. Today, we're going to talk about something incredibly important that affects half of the world's population. We're discussing women's rights.
This is such a crucial topic because gender equality is not just a women's issue, it's a human rights issue that impacts everyone in society.
Exactly. And being able to discuss women's rights, gender equality, and social justice in English is important for understanding current events and participating in meaningful conversations.
So, Sarah, March 8th is International Women's Day. What does that day mean to you?
It's a day to celebrate women's achievements, but also to recognize how much work still needs to be done. We've made progress, but gender equality hasn't been achieved yet.
What areas do you think still need the most attention?
There are so many. The gender pay gap is still real. Women earn less than men for the same work in most countries.
Really? I thought that had been fixed by now.
Unfortunately not. On average, women earn about 80 cents for every dollar a man earns, and the gap is even wider for women of color.
Why does this gap exist if discrimination is illegal?
That's a great question. Part of it is occupational segregation. Women are concentrated in lower-paying fields like education and caregiving.
So it's not always about different pay for the same job.
It's both. There's definitely same-job discrimination, but there's also the undervaluing of work traditionally done by women.
What do you mean by undervaluing?
Jobs that require caring for others, like teaching, nursing, childcare, tend to pay less than jobs dominated by men, even when they require similar levels of education and skill.
That's interesting. I never thought about it that way.
It reflects how society values certain types of work differently based on gender stereotypes.
What about representation? Are there enough women in leadership positions?
Not nearly enough. Women are underrepresented in corporate leadership, politics, and decision-making positions across the board.
What's the percentage?
It varies by country and industry, but women hold less than 30% of leadership positions globally. In some countries and sectors, it's much lower.
Why do you think that is?
Multiple factors: the glass ceiling, invisible barriers that prevent women from advancing, lack of mentorship and sponsorship, unconscious bias in hiring and promotions.
What's the glass ceiling exactly?
It's a metaphor for the invisible barrier that prevents women and minorities from rising to top positions, despite their qualifications and achievements.
So they can see the top positions, but can't reach them.
Exactly. They hit an invisible ceiling that blocks further advancement.
What about work-life balance? Does that affect women's careers?
Absolutely. Women still do the majority of unpaid domestic work and childcare, even when they work full-time.
That's a double burden. Paid work and unpaid housework?
Precisely. It's sometimes called the second shift. Women come home from work and start their second job of cooking, cleaning, and caring for children.
That doesn't seem fair. Shouldn't partners share household responsibilities equally?
They should, but cultural expectations and traditional gender roles are hard to break. Many societies still expect women to be primary caregivers.
How does this affect women's careers?
Women often have to choose between advancing their careers and having children. Men rarely face that same choice.
That's the motherhood penalty, right?
Exactly. Women with children are often perceived as less committed to their careers, while men with children are seen as more stable and responsible.
So having kids helps men's careers but hurts women's careers?
In many cases, yes, it's a double standard based on assumptions about gender roles.
What about parental leave? How does that factor in? In countries without paid parental leave, women often have to leave the workforce temporarily, which hurts their career progression and lifetime earnings.
What about countries that do offer paid leave?
It helps, but if only women take it, they're still the ones whose careers are interrupted. That's why paternity leave is important too.
So men need to take parental leave as well?
Yes, when both parents have access to leave and actually use it, it normalizes caregiving as a shared responsibility, not just a woman's job.
That makes sense. What about education? Do girls have equal access to education globally?
In many developed countries, yes. Actually, women now earn more college degrees than men in many countries.
That's progress.
It is, but in many parts of the world, girls still face barriers to education. Poverty, child marriage, cultural attitudes, and lack of safety can prevent girls from going to school.
Child marriage? That still happens?
Unfortunately, yes. Millions of girls worldwide are married before age 18, which usually ends their education and limits their opportunities.
That's heartbreaking. What age is considered child marriage?
Generally, marriage before age 18. In some places, girls are married as young as 12 or 13.
That's terrible. How does that affect their lives?
It traps them in cycles of poverty, limits their education, increases health risks from early pregnancy, and often subjects them to domestic violence.
Speaking of violence, that's a major women's rights issue, isn't it?
It's one of the most serious. Violence against women is a global epidemic. 1 in 3 women worldwide experiences physical or sexual violence in their lifetime.
1 in 3? That's staggering.
It is, and those are just the reported cases. Many incidents go unreported due to shame, fear, or lack of legal protection.
What forms does this violence take? Domestic violence, sexual assault, harassment, human trafficking, so-called honor killings, and more.
What are honor killings?
They're murders of women by family members who believe the woman has brought shame to the family, often for things like refusing an arranged marriage or being a victim of rape.
That's horrific. How is that still happening?
In societies where family honor is valued above individual rights and where women are seen as property rather than autonomous individuals.
What about sexual harassment? That's been in the news a lot lately.
The #MeToo movement really brought attention to how widespread workplace sexual harassment is.
What exactly is the #MeToo movement?
It started as a viral social media campaign where women shared their experiences of sexual harassment and assault to show how common it is.
Did it create change?
It raised awareness and led to some accountability for powerful men who had been abusing their positions, but systemic change is still needed.
What kind of systemic change?
Better reporting mechanisms, protection for those who report harassment, actual consequences for perpetrators, and changing workplace cultures that enable harassment.
Let's talk about reproductive rights. That's a contentious issue.
It is. Access to reproductive health care, including contraception and safe abortion services, is considered a human right by many, but it's restricted in many places.
Why is it so controversial?
It involves deeply held beliefs about morality, religion, and when life begins. But fundamentally, it's about women's autonomy over their own bodies.
What's the argument for reproductive rights?
That women should have the right to make decisions about their own bodies, health care, and reproductive choices without government interference.
And the opposing view?
Often based on religious or moral beliefs that prioritize protecting potential life over women's autonomy.
It sounds like a complex ethical debate.
It is, but at its core, it's about who gets to make decisions about women's bodies, women themselves or the government.
What about maternal health care? Is that related?
Absolutely. Access to prenatal care, safe delivery services, and postnatal care is essential. Maternal mortality is still high in many countries.
Women die in childbirth?
Yes, particularly in developing countries where healthcare access is limited. Most of these deaths are preventable with proper medical care.
That's tragic. What else should people know about women's rights issues?
Women's political participation is crucial. When women are involved in decision-making, policies that benefit families and communities are more likely to be adopted.
Are there examples of this? Studies show that when women hold political office, there's increased attention to education, healthcare, and social welfare issues.
So, diversity in leadership leads to better outcomes for everyone.
Exactly. It's not just about fairness, it actually leads to better governance and policies.
What about women's rights in different cultures? Is it wrong to judge other cultures?
That's a sensitive question. There's a difference between respecting cultural differences and accepting human rights violations.
How do you draw that line?
Human rights are universal. Practices that deny women basic dignity, autonomy, and safety violate human rights regardless of cultural context.
So, some things transcend cultural relativism?
Yes, while we should approach cultural differences with humility, we can't accept practices like genital mutilation, honor killings, or child marriage as just cultural differences.
That makes sense. What can men do to support women's rights?
That's such an important question. Men can be allies and advocates. Listen to women's experiences, call out sexism when you see it, support women's leadership, and share domestic responsibilities.
So, it's about using your privilege to create change.
Exactly. Men generally have more power and credibility in many spaces, so using that to amplify women's voices and advocate for equality is crucial.
What about in everyday life? What can people do?
Challenge sexist jokes and comments, support businesses owned by women, mentor young women, vote for candidates who support gender equality, share household and childcare duties equally.
These seem like small actions, but they add up.
Absolutely. Cultural change happens through millions of individual actions and choices.
Let's talk about progress. What victories have been won for women's rights?
Women's suffrage, the right to vote, was a huge victory, though women in some countries still can't vote.
When did women get the right to vote in most countries?
It varied widely. Some countries granted it in the early 1900s, others not until the late 20th century. A few countries still restrict women's voting rights.
What other progress has been made?
Legal equality in many countries, though enforcement is uneven. Increased access to education, more women in the workforce, legal protections against discrimination.
What about women's sports? Has that improved?
Yes, there's more media coverage, better funding, and growing respect for women athletes. But pay gaps still exist, and women's sports still receive far less attention than men's.
Why is that?
Historical underinvestment, less media coverage creating a cycle where there's less audience interest, and lingering attitudes that women's sports are less exciting or valuable.
But that's changing?
Gradually, major tournaments for women's soccer, basketball, and tennis are getting more viewership and investment.
What gives you hope about the future of women's rights?
Young people are more committed to gender equality than previous generations. More men are recognizing this as their issue, too. Social media allows for rapid awareness and mobilization.
What still concerns you?
Backlash against progress. In some places, women's rights are actually being rolled back, and progress is very uneven globally. Some women have tremendous freedom, while others have almost none.
So there's still a long way to go?
Definitely. But movements for change are growing, and each generation builds on the work of the previous one.
This has been such an important conversation, Sarah.
I agree. These issues matter so much, and being able to discuss them thoughtfully is important.
Let's do our vocabulary review to help everyone remember the key terms we discussed.
Let's review 10 essential words and phrases for discussing women's rights and gender equality.
Number 1. Gender equality. This phrase means equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities for all genders. It's the goal of ensuring no one is disadvantaged because of their gender.
Number 2, glass ceiling. This metaphor describes invisible barriers preventing women and minorities from reaching top positions despite qualifications. You can see through glass, but can't break through it.
Number 3, pay gap. This phrase refers to the difference in earnings between different groups, especially between men and women. The gender pay gap means women earn less than men on average.
Number 4, discrimination. This noun means unjust treatment of different categories of people based on characteristics like race, gender, or age. Gender discrimination treats people unfairly because of their gender.
Number 5, autonomy. This noun means the right or condition of self-government, independence, and freedom to make your own choices. Bodily autonomy means control over your own body.
Number 6, domestic violence. This phrase means violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the abuse of a spouse or partner. It includes physical, emotional, and psychological abuse.
Number 7, harassment. This noun means aggressive pressure or intimidation, often of a sexual nature in workplace contexts. Sexual harassment creates a hostile environment through unwanted advances or comments.
Number 8, empowerment. This noun means the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming rights. Women's empowerment means enabling women to have agency and power.
Number 9, suffrage. This noun means the right to vote in political elections. Women's suffrage refers to the movement to grant women voting rights, achieved at different times worldwide.
Number 10, ally. This noun means a person who supports a cause, particularly someone from a non-affected group supporting a marginalized group. Male allies support women's rights and gender equality.
Those are 10 crucial terms for discussing women's rights and gender equality issues.
So everyone, we've had such an important conversation about women's rights today.
I hope this showed you how to discuss these critical issues respectfully and gave you vocabulary to engage in meaningful conversations.
Now we want to hear from you. We have a question.
Here's our question. What do you think is the most important women's rights issue today? Or how do you support gender equality in your own life? Share respectfully in the comments.
For example, I think equal pay is crucial, or I support women's rights by sharing housework equally with my partner.
We read every comment, and we love hearing diverse perspectives from around the world.
Don't forget to hit that like button if this conversation made you think or helped you learn important vocabulary.
And please subscribe to Unreal English and turn on notifications. We discuss meaningful topics like this regularly.
Share this video with friends learning English or interested in social justice. These conversations create awareness and change.
Remember, gender equality benefits everyone. It's not just a women's issue, it's a human rights issue.
Everyone has a role to play in creating a more equal world. Small actions and everyday choices matter.
Keep learning, keep listening to different perspectives, and keep working toward a world where everyone has equal opportunities regardless of gender.
We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, and remember, women's rights are human rights.